Hello creative friends, this is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. I'm working in my big spiral bound art journal again. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start putting some paint on the page and playing with some different products and seeing where it takes me, see what I end up with in the end. So hope you enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Okay, so the video here I sped up like 500 times so that it can quickly go through and show you the process that I followed for creating this journal page. And to start with, I just used some craft acrylic paint in several different colors, and I used several different stencils with different shapes to create a background for this journal page. And there I was using a stencil, of course, with circles and lime green paint. And here I'm using an orange paint with another stencil, and I'm overlapping with the first stenciled pattern that I had put on my paper. And that kind of just helps tie everything together. And it gives you some interesting areas where the different shapes and different colors overlap on your background. In this particular page, I didn't really know what I was going to end up doing or what I was going for. I just figured I would just start putting some paint on the page and creating an interesting background and see where it takes me from there. Now, I'm not a big fan of pink, but I decided to add a few pink hearts to this page. And then that was showing you that this is a Balzer design stencil. I absolutely love this stencil. I've used it in so many different journal pages that I've created, and it's one of my all-time favorite stencils. And here I'm just in different areas on the background stenciling with a red paint. It's kind of like a lipstick red, and I've turned the stencil over and used a roller to get some of that pattern off onto my page. The next stencil is another Balzer design stencil, and I wasn't sure what else to put on this page, but I wanted like a simple pattern that would kind of tie everything together, and I like this stencil that has all the little dots, and I'm using turquoise to just kind of fill in between and overlap some of the previous colors and patterns that I had put on the page. Now here I'm going to use my StazOn ink pad and just put some more patterns with this stamp pad around on the page, just to add more interest to the page. And here I'm using some white acrylic paint and some bubble wrap to again put some more stamped images on the page and some interest. Eventually I do end up covering this whole page with gesso to kind of tone down the background because it's awfully bright. And here I'm using a larger bubble wrap with the acrylic paint to add more interest to the background. And here I tried to use a mesh and a spray, hoping it would add another interesting texture to the background, but it didn't quite work out like I thought it would. So I just kind of did away with that and decided just to go ahead and spray the background. Here I tried a bigger mesh piece of plastic where I thought that might add something, and it really didn't. So, like I said, I gave up on trying to put more pattern on this background, but I wanted to color it instead of having all that white. So I just sprayed it, and then I kind of rubbed it down, and that way, it was um, all colored, at least all the white in between. Here I sprayed a little bit of white over the page, and I like the way that kind of muted everything a bit. And here I just sprayed water on a baby wipe, because some of the areas it was like too covered over. I wanted to take away some of the white spray and the um, dilution colors that I had sprayed on here, so I could bring back some of the colors and the patterns underneath. Here was a pair of scissors with a pattern to it, to the blades that I decided to use, and I tore a page out of my sketch journal. It's thicker, heavier cardstock paper, and as you can see, I folded the page in half, and then I folded each side into the middle, and now I'm cutting out a heart shape with these fancy scissors with the scalloped blades on them. I thought it might be a good idea to um, make some hearts to put on this page. And here I'm using a stamp. This is a Tracy Bautiste stamp. I think that's how you say her name. And it's a script stamp. And of course my favorite Balzer design stencil with the red paint to color these hearts in. And I really like the way this page did turn out. I like the pattern that it put on these hearts. This page really turned out nice. I was really pleased with it when it was done. Getting some more of that red craft paint. And one thing when you're stenciling, like I'm using a little dauber, you can see there, sponge dauber, is not to have a lot of paint on it, otherwise it will just seep under and then you'll kind of lose your pattern. And here I just used a roller to get the paint off of the stencil, and then of course I'm using up the rest of the red paint on the page with that stencil, which actually, I probably shouldn't have used this book to do this, because now I have a sketchbook that's got this page in it with all this paint and stencil on it, which I was trying to have that as a sketchbook, and then I have these other books for art journaling or painting, doing paint projects, but oh well. I haven't done anything more with that page, but eventually I might. And here I was spraying just an antique gold on them to try to give them a little bit more of a sheen and a shine. And I'm using my StazOn ink pad and a little finger dauber just to go around the edges to kind of darken them edges a little bit on these hearts. I just felt like it needed something to, trim them out. So I'm just going around each of the hearts. And too, I think it helps, it'll help it stand off from the page, and it'll help bring out the little scalloped edge that's on these hearts. And this is just a black stays on ink pad. I also have a gray that I like the gray, but I just felt that black would work best on this to help the heart stand out from the page. And here I have a bunch of Prima flowers, so I'm going through and just trying to put together some flowers and deciding, what combination I like, where I like to see them. And I did stop the video because it seemed like it was taking me a lot of time trying to figure this out. And I didn't think you guys wanted to sit through, a long video watching me try to figure that out. So I had these different colored brads that I used on these flowers, and so I was using different colors on different flower combinations. And I had a little bit of a problem with this one because it didn't really have a hole in the center. So I had an awl that I got to punch the hole in there. So I'm using Mod Podge to put down these hearts. Um, Typically don't like to use Mod Podge because it's kind of makes your pages stick together really easily. I did not put any Mod Podge on the top. I was going to because I thought, oh, that would be kind of cool to make them shiny, even shinier, but I decided that I would rather avoid putting any on top where it would cause my pages to stick together. So I just used it as a glue to stick them down, the hearts down. And here I'm coming back with the flowers that I decided to put on this page. And again, just seeing where they're all going to go and figuring out in what combination. And here I'm pushing the brads through the paper and then splaying the little prongs on the back of it, of the brads that are on these that I'm used on these flowers. I don't, you know, I haven't, I should say, typically done a lot of this type of mixed media, but I was just thought, I want to just have fun with this. And because a lot of times I will be like, oh, it's going to make it the page too thick, it's going to add too much, and my journal's going to be too fat. But this is a spiral bound, there's lots of room in this. Other journals I've worked on didn't have so much room, so I just was like going for it and not giving it too much thought or worrying about it too much. And here is K & Company ephemera. I really love their packs. They've got a lot of neat, things in there. And I'm deciding on what else I want to put on this page. I think I ended up finding a couple of butterflies and a couple of dragonflies and some tags. I believe I skip ahead here a minute. Yeah, I like those little dragonflies. I thought they were cute. And then the butterflies. Still figuring out where I want these. I probably should have skipped through some more of this. Didn't realize I left so much of this in here. Okay, make up your mind any day now. There we go. Okay, so we got these little well, they're not really dots, they're actually little squares, foam squares that are sticky on both sides that I decided to use to put on the backs of the butterflies and the dragonflies to, have them, lift up off the page. And I like these because they're different sizes, and some of them are pretty tiny, like those little dragonflies are pretty small. And you see there where I'm having even the smaller ones, I had to cut like the little corners off where it was sticking out, but for the most part, they were small enough to fit on these little dragonflies and work perfectly. Oh, and I'm just showing you there that I used the Prima flowers and the K and Company. A couple of tags I found in another pack that I had bought, and I'm just using some Scotch double stick tape to stick them down. I did find some other smaller tags that I decided to use with a little smaller Prima flower. As you can see me there using a brad to put the smaller Prima flower on, and a couple other little tags, and then punch through the paper. I did one on each heart just to add a little extra something, which I thought was cute. And here's the other one, adding the little brad to the little Prima flowers and the little tags. And this is Inca Doodle Doo, I think is what this stamp set is called. I really do like this stamp set. It's really neat. And the letters are all different. I stamped it, but it really wasn't as dark as I had hoped. So I'm using this Indian ink and a quill pen to put laugh, love, and then live is what I meant to put, but I put laugh, love, and then I had stamped love. So I ended up fixing that in the end to where it said live. So it's laugh, love, live, which is a little backwards, but oh well. And I'm using the quill pen to just go over that stamped image of love to darken it. The stamped image didn't really come out as dark as I would have liked. So this just helps it to stand out better, especially against the background there that, with the pattern and the color and everything, it just, needed more to it to help it stand out better. And then there's a couple little doodles that I added to this word, a couple little dots there, and then a little heart above the O. Also add a little bit of flair to the words that I have on here, and that love at the bottom I fixed to live, and you'll see it in the uh, pictures at the end, the detailed pictures. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.